Smile came out in 2022 and it was one of my favorite films of that year. I have the Steelbook back there in that collection. With Smile 2, did I like it just as much as the first film? Well, stick around and let's talk about it. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Skye Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Skye is forced to face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. The film stars Naomi Scott, Rosemarie DeWitt, Gelula, Lukas Gage, Miles Gutierrez-Riley, and Peter Jacobson, and was directed by Parker Finn, and he also directed the first Smile film. Now, I will totally admit, when this film was announced, I was like, no, why do we have to do a sequel? Just keep it like it was. I understand when any of these horror films make any kind of money, they are going to do a sequel. I was really worried going to this film because that first film is a 5 out of 5. I got the Steelbook back there, like I said. I've watched it 3 times and I absolutely love that film. It came out of left field back in 2022. My theater experience was absolutely great watching that film. So with this one, when I saw the trailer and that it was going to be centered on a pop star, I was like, yeah, I don't know how to actually feel about this, but Naomi Scott plays in the lead role here. I know her from playing Princess Jasmine in the live-action Aladdin movie that was done some years ago, and I thought she did a great job here. Obviously, she plays this pop star who is getting a second chance. She got involved in some drugs, and she also got into a really bad car accident in which her boyfriend actually passed away. She gets this second chance to go on tour again and really take control of her life. She has PTSD, and you can really see that she has lots of drama with that past accident. And the fact that she has problems with her back, she's actually going to a drug dealer to pick up a certain drug to actually help with her back because no one will actually prescribe her any type of drugs because obviously she has a past addiction. Now, the opening of this movie is really great. In the trailer, you do see a part where a car is actually headed towards someone. And man, that scene in the beginning, it actually had me jumping, even though the fact that I've seen the trailer for this film so many times, even more than Speak No Evil. This trailer was playing so much, so I've seen that part where the car rides by and hits someone, and that is the opening of this film. And the way that they open the film, it's actually taking place 6 days after the original film, and I really like that they actually added that little touch into the film. What also I liked about this film is they actually updated the music a little bit more. They took it a little bit step further, I think. I love that soundtrack for the first film. I actually saw how it was made, the certain instruments they used to actually create that score, and I absolutely love the score here as well. I do like the first score of the first movie a little bit better, but I still do like the fact that they do update the score here. A lot of different sounds, which really create a cool atmosphere of the movie. And also the camera shots in here, I think they do a great job. Again, they do use the upside down camera shot, which they did use in the first film as well, which I think was a very unique kind of touch to put in the film. And there's also this really cool scene where you have them going back and forth between the characters when they're actually going back and forth with their dialogue, and this is a flashback to the scene of which you have Skye's character actually in the car with her ex-boyfriend and that fight that actually went down, and the camera work with that is absolutely great. That is something I can really praise about this film, is the camera work. The way that they actually just shoot different things in this film, I thought they did a great job. I also like the character development with Skye's character. Now, it's very hard, obviously, to be a pop star, and I love the fact that we're getting inside the mind of a pop star, especially after the fact that she was in the public eye, and she was obviously famous, and she has so much bad press about her with the fact that she did do all these drugs. She really only has one friend in which she can really count on. And when you are a famous star like she is, it's very hard for you to really count on people to really be in your corner, mainly because of the fact that when you get famous, you really don't know who is actually there for you and who's actually fake and not really supportive of you. So the fact that she has this one friend and she had a falling out with her later on she gets back with her and really starts to rekindle that friendship. So I really did like to see that kind of unfold. I think there is a lot of effective tension moments in this film. There's a scene that is actually in her apartment. I believe it's an apartment she lives in. It looks like an apartment. And they do a really good job with how they actually create tension in that scene. There's a lot of interesting moments that she really experiences. And towards the third act of the film, it really reminded me of The Substance a little bit, because this does go into body horror. I think this film is even more violent than the first film. I think there's a lot more blood here. The scene that you do see in the trailer where the guy is taking the weight and smashing his head with it, that scene is absolutely disturbing. Just the makeup that's involved and the way that they just show like his face actually like melting away after he smacked his face repeatedly with that weight. I felt that from just sitting in my chair. Speaking of feeling things in my seat, there were times in here where the jump scares actually got me. They were quite effective, and I really have to point out to the sound department. They do a really good job of knowing when to turn up the sound, whether to have it soft, loud, mid-range. They do a really good job with it, and they did a really good job with it in the first film as well, and I think they just continue that tradition throughout this film. Another thing I really liked about the fact that we're really studying this character study of this pop star is the fact that because she has all this stress, there are times in here that I notice where she's actually pulling out her hair, and as the film goes along, we really see her just spiraling out of control. More things are happening. She's seeing more visions, hallucinations, dream sequences. All that is really just kind of adding up in her head. And then she has so many things that she has to do to really get back on tour. She has to actually speak at this charity event in which there is a fallout with that. There is other scenes in which she's trying to perform and certain things happen with practicing and dance moves. And it's just really interesting to see that, but also the dynamic of her mother as well. Her mother obviously is her manager here, and she is very much hard on her. She really is doing everything she can to have her daughter really be successful on this second attempt. And throughout the third act, you really learn more about that and just what is really on the line for this pop star and just how the film really spirals out of control. I thought they did a really good job with just showing this woman just having so much trauma that she has faced, showing the struggle she has, the drug addiction she has, just all these things that she's faced, and then adding in the fact that she saw someone actually kill themselves, and then now she's seeing all these entities just latch onto her. They just did a really good job with it. As far as negatives for this film, the only things I can really say is there's a few little slow parts, I would say, in the film, but I think the pacing overall is pretty good. They do a really good job here. Despite the fact that it's 2 hours, I thought they did a really good job really utilizing that runtime. I didn't think they really had any wasteful scenes. I didn't feel like they overused tension or they didn't use enough tension or not enough scary scenes. I think they balanced it all out really well. The other negative that I would say is towards the third act of the film. They really try to go a little bit bonkers in that third act, and there's kind of a lot going on, and you kind of question certain things. You get your answers, but man, there really is a lot going on in that third act, and I was like, wow, they really went for it here in that third act. And by the time the film actually ended, I was like, wow, that was a fun film. I had a great time with it. So as far as a score for this film, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I do like the first one more, but I will say that I need to watch the first one again, and I want to watch this one again to compare a little bit more with things that I really liked in the first one compared to the second one. I don't know exactly the setup as much with this one because obviously this was filmed after COVID, and the first one was filmed during COVID, in which they actually had to build a hospital, and this takes place outside of a hospital, more so within an apartment. And then the fact that you have this entity just really following her around, it's just a lot more different. I feel like this one is more psychological, but it also is a lot more darker, and there's a lot of darker moments in here, but then it's also more violent, I feel, as well. So I think there is a lot of things to really like about this film, and I'm very interested to see where they really go from here, because really it's kind of opened up for a third film. So I really feel like there will be a third film or some kind of spin-off later on down the road. So 4 out of 5 is what I give this film. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And how do you think it compares to the first film? Do you like it just as much? Do you not like either movie? How do you feel about the franchise as a whole and where it's going to go later on down the road? Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.